Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Scared Shitless. This is a horror retrospective, the show that dissects horror media like a decapitated head, sprouting weird little fucking spider legs and crawling away. I am Ryan, and today I am joined by Jamie.
Hello.
And Ali.
Hello, guys.
And that was our second intro because I ballsed up the first one, which was actually better than the second, but that's how it goes. So this week we are covering the 1982 cosmic horror classic John Carpenter's The Thing. The Thing is directed by John Carpenter and written by Bill Lancaster and John W. Campbell Jr. It stars Kurt Russell, Keith David, Wilford Brimley, Donald Moffat, and T.K. Carter. It is the story of a shape-shifting alien that attempts to assimilate a research team in Antarctica in an attempt to get to a populated area and out of the snow, because fuck Antarctica.
Although the monster seems quite comfortable in the snow, so...
Fair. Well, so before we go any further, some people will say this is a remake of A Thing from Another World. It is not. A Thing from Another World is based off the same property. They are both separate adaptations of the same short story, but it is not a remake. It's just based off the original property. Much like the new Batman is not a remake of The Dark Knight, it's just another adaptation of Batman. So, right, we're past that. So if any of you want to say that in the comment, you're wrong. Let's get over it, move past it. Right. Had either of you seen this film before?
No.
In segments, not the full thing. Just segments for college or on YouTube. I will put my hand up. This film gave me the biggest fear of my life when I was much younger. So for the sake of this channel, I had to suck it up, watch it, and holy fucking dog.
No, as I said in the chat, I was happy to take that risk. That I would get scared. So.
that was a risk we were willing to take. We were willing to run the risk of Ali giving this channel its name rightfully and being scared shitless. But I've seen this film multiple times. I mean, I said to you before we started, the reason we were watching this film is because I really wanted to watch this film. You know. Because I love it, genuinely love it. So full on complete disclosure here, as we discuss this, I am biased towards this film. So I'm really relying on you to bring some balance in because I'm not doing it. So Jamie, what did you think? Your very first viewing?
In general, I don't tend to like sort of older films. I don't know why. I guess I just like modern cameras, modern audio. But I gotta say, this film was really great. I liked everything I was seeing. I was like, none of this is CGI. This had to all be done for real, right?
It's all practical. All practical. It's all before CGI was a thing. Everything in this film they done practically and fantastically, in my opinion.
Yeah, when I was listening, I actually messaged you guys in the chat, and the opening credits, it's just over a black screen and there's this like sort of eerie music, and I was thinking, what would this music, what am I expecting? And I'm like, I know this isn't, it doesn't take place in space, but I was like, this is like a spaceship or something. And then a spaceship comes in and I was like, called it.
You did call it. You did. So okay,
I liked it overall, so
good.
That was good.
Ali, you said holy fucking dog, I believe what you said. But
yes.
Did you like it?
I did. I didn't think I would have. Like I said, certain things definitely freaked me out, but that was the whole purpose of the film and the whole purpose of what we're doing here. And for the first time ever, I was completely freaked out. But for what for as we've said, spoilers here for anybody that hasn't seen it, or has, sorry, the dog scene that was unbelievable. The effects, as we're saying, the effects wise, the puppets or the Muppets, whatever they used to create the effects.
The Muppets, Kermit the Frog, and Miss Piggy is coming dancing their way out to this thing.
Yeah, but no, they were really, really excellent. I just felt so at the start of the film, I felt sorry for the husky because it's getting chased by what I was assuming at the time poachers, and lo and behold, turns out they weren't trying to poach it; they were trying to stop it. So
I was just like at the start, why are these assholes trying to shoot this dog? That's a nice looking dog.
Too.
It has been so long since I first saw this film that, obviously when I watch it, I know exactly what's happening. And I forget that, when it opens, people are like, why the fuck are they trying to shoot a dog? Like, why are they so determined to kill this dog?
Sort of like helicopters for like 5 minutes, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. They're flying. They're in helicopters. Are we going to land and get some action at any point?
Okay,
but yeah, they did. They started trying to kill the dog. It was really cool.
So right, let's. So like you said, Jamie, it opens with a spaceship actually coming to Earth, and then we come years later. We find out they mention roughly how like thousands of years later, to the 1980s, 1982, and Antarctica, and yeah, it is them try to shoot a dog in a helicopter. They then get out and they're just ignoring the American team, the research team. They're completely ignoring them. They don't give a shit that they're there, and they're going to kill this dog, and it actually results in both of their deaths. So let's get to the kills. So the first kill, I tried to count these kills as I always do. It was really difficult in this movie.
Yes, I found that too. I really tried to this time, but I did find it difficult.
So, what I was able to do, there were 12 people in the American research team and 2 Norwegians. 2 people were alive at the end, so I'm counting 12 deaths. There's 12 people died, 2 Norwegians, 10 people in the American team. That doesn't mean that only 12 people died in this film.
The 2 of the American team were left at the end, right?
They may have been.
They were sitting there in the fire with some beer or whatever they had.
There were 2 life forms sitting at the end of the film that were not dead. That is what I will confirm.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So we're going to try and count these. If MD's watching it and be like, that person didn't die there, they died there, fucking roll with it. I'm doing my best here. Right. So the first person that dies, we can confirm, this one's definitive, is the Norwegian who gets blown up with his helicopter. They drop the grenade, he tries to get it, boom, dead Norwegian. Next, Norwegian number 2, he's trying to shoot the dog, gets shot in the face for his troubles. Dead Norwegian number 2.
Then there's a leg jerk.
Yeah. We then see Bennings, the ginger guy, actually being assimilated by the thing. When they're looking at the thing, they think it's dead, they've covered it up. We actually see him being assimilated by it. The thing version of him then goes out into the snow and he is burned with a flamethrower. However, we do know that before this point, the thing has already assimilated someone else. We see the dog go into the guy's room. It doesn't show us who that is, but we do know someone else is already dead. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to count them later anyway. So if don't complain in the comments. It's happening. So we then have I've wrote down his name, but I am 100% going to mispronounce it. Fuchs, possibly. I can't remember how you pronounce his name. But he's found dead and burned in the snow. We don't see his death, we just see his corpse. They say he potentially burned himself, or he was potentially burned by the thing. We then see Norris have a heart attack. We then have one of the coolest scenes in fucking film history when they try to resuscitate Norris with the defibrillator. His chest opens up and literally bites off Cooper's arms. It's like, holy
genuinely
shit.
think that was one of my possibly my favorite part of the movie. I just wasn't expecting it. Like Clear, he does it the first time, and then clearing it out, and like, holy fuck, the chest is opening at what's going on.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Absolutely
so
amazing.
Cool. Yeah. So, and it looks amazing, and it comes out of nowhere. You don't see it happening because you didn't know he was a thing. You thought he just had a heart attack, but the things like not happy about getting defibrillated, and clean bites off his hands, which of course he dies from, potentially blood loss or probably more likely shock because the guy shit his pants. he was dead for that. We then had Clark, who was shot in the face by Mac. Mac waving about a gun, telling everybody to be cool. Clark tried to take the gun from him or moved at him. Died. Turned out Clark was not a thing. So Mac killed an innocent guy.
For no reason, for being a jumpy guy.
Yeah, well,
I suppose in that situation, can you really blame him?
I definitely don't blame him.
Monstrous thing coming around that can assimilate and take on people's forms. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, you can forgive him under the circumstances, I think. So we then found out Palmer actually was a thing when Mac was testing all their blood, which again, another really cool scene. He's like burning the blood and says, because of the way the thing reacted previously, they believe each individual cell will defend itself with the thing. Like it's each cell is like a separate organism almost. Which is
why did they come to that conclusion again? Because I got
because of the defibrillator making the chest open up, because they're like, he's dead, so that shouldn't have happened. But the only reason it did is because literally the cells did not like being electrocuted. So it's like fuck that, and defended itself. So they also, because the other part that made it do it is after Norris was dead. Was it? No, it wasn't. Yeah. It was, his head came off.
Yes, it disconnected itself.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, Palmer was found to be a thing. He was burned. His head came off. Sprouted little spider things, and fucking epic. And that was then flamethrowered. But yeah, they worked that out because of the defibrillator scene.
Is it me, or did a bunch of researchers in the Arctic have like a ridiculous amount of access to big ass flamethrowers?
They did. So we then saw Windows, who was killed by the Palmer version of the thing. It like Palmer's head opened up and like bit Windows' head.
That was brilliant. I loved that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, yeah.
And like describing the deaths in this film is weird. Other films are talking about, so and so got stabbed. They got this is a guy's head opened up and bit someone else's head. I am not on drugs. I swear to God, this happened. I
don't even think Final Destination it was that difficult to explain a kill.
No, it's not that difficult to phrase it, but it sounds weird. We then had Windows. Yeah, I said Windows killed by the Palmer thing. Gary was then assimilated by Blair. With like Blair grabbed his face and it like
Yeah, that was a cool effect. And he got
yeah,
his
like
fingers.
his fingers like went into his cheeks and stuff. Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
cool. We then had Knowles, who was killed off screen by the thing. We did not see it. We had Blair, who was assimilated earlier in the film. I know he was assimilated earlier. We can tell how early he was assimilated. But I'm counting him here because this is where he gets blown up and dies. Or at least the Thing version of him does. But that's 12. That's 12. And then at the end, we have Mac and Childs sitting outside in the snow. But
you're doing really well with the names. Like I know them as guy with beard, doctor.
Well, it's anyway. We had those two sitting outside, but yeah, those are all the dead people. Now Blair, did you notice when Blair was assimilated in the movie? Like, can you? I'm just curious.
So.
It's sorry, Ali.
I think I did, but I might have missed it. I want to say when he asked the question, did you check on the dogs, or when did you last? When were you last with the dog? I want to say possibly then, but I could be wrong.
Okay, Blair was the doctor who was looking at it on the computer. So he obviously, we saw at one point in the film he threw a tantrum with an axe.
Oh yeah, when he was like destroying the place.
Yeah, because earlier he saw his computer, his magical 80s statistics computer, by the way, which I've run statistics software. It doesn't tell you shit like that, at least not as easily as that. I would love a magic 80s computer in real life, but that's nothing to do with anything. But yeah, he found
a nice text conclusion.
Yeah, he essentially found that if the Thing were to make it to a populated area, it would take over the entire planet in like no time, and that there was a 75% chance of at least one of the research members already being assimilated by the Thing. So
I think it was 2,700 hours. It would only take. Yeah, not very long.
So as his reaction to this was, I'm going to destroy it so no one can contact us, and we're all going to die here in the cold. And he didn't trust anyone, hence the hissy fit with an axe, which, to be fair, under the circumstances, I don't think is the least reasonable response you can have. But anyway, as a result, they took him away and locked him in the like outdoor storage area. We know he's a human then, so that's after he asks about the dog alley. However, they come back. Mac asks him if he sees where, again, Hughes or someone has been. I forget. I can't pronounce that guy's name.
Oh, and that was when he wanted to come back in. He's like, I've been out there. Yeah.
He's like, I want to come back in now, but there's a noose next to him. He's tied a noose and hung it from the ceiling, and there's a noose literally next to him that he doesn't mention, and he's like, if there was ever anything wrong with me, I'm okay now. And it's like, he's a fucking thing, man.
Yeah, I wondered when he opened the little door and looked in. I was like, why is there a noose there? Like, was the doctor, was he going to kill himself, or was it a ruse?
I think he was going to kill himself. Yeah, and he may have even hung himself, and maybe his corpse was assimilated. I don't know. What we do know is by that point he was definitely a thing, and it did not take the noose down. So anyway, so that I was just wondering. But right, let's talk a little, if you will, about how they built suspense throughout this film. So before we actually saw the dog thing do it some weird, horrendous shit in the kennels, before we actually saw all this Lovecraftian, grotesque body horror that this film is so well known for and does so well, we only got bits hinted at us. So Mac and Cooper go to the Norwegian research base, what did you think of that scene where they're kind of exploring this base and everyone's gone or dead and the place is frozen and burned and there's an axe in the wall and a big ass block of ice that's just been burst open? Jamie, what did you think of all that?
Was this before or after we saw the footage of the Norwegian? Was it footage of the Norwegian team?
It was, yeah. This was when they first went out, so it's quite early on. It's they're asking
I remember
Mac to fly.
that's when the guy said, this ice that they blew up was like over probably 100,000 years old or whatever.
Yes, yeah, that's the one.
So you knew something crazy was coming. It's been in the ice for 100,000 years. It was tense. I liked it. I mean, it was all staged really nice. Thought the camera work was good. They had no idea what the fuck was going on, but the actors were clearly good at looking fucking terrified.
Ali, what did you think about it?
I liked the suspension that we were that we were possibly going to get maybe a little surprise there, which when we found the half mutated, half dead, half whatever the corpse was, I thought that was a very, very cool mannequin that they made. But with the big hole, that was a huge asshole.
It was a huge asshole. It was indeed. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely love that scene. And the first few times watching the film, I did not appreciate that scene as much as I do now. But now, knowing exactly what's going to come and knowing everything that happens, watching it and them going about, and it's just wee bits, like this. There's a hole in this wall, and there's an axe in this door, and there's a hole in the ceiling. The whole place is frozen and burned, and you can see the shit has gone down there, and it really builds everything so well. And it's like, you guys don't know what you're in for. And
that holds up watching it for the first time as well, like totally.
Yeah. But also, if you are interested to find out more, turns out we're going to find out exactly what happened in the Norwegian base next week when we watch the prequel, also known as The Thing. So use at home, tune in for that, where we will be discussing the next one. But anyway, that's some shameless self-promotion there, guys. Right, so I never actually asked you, Ali, of all the kills, which was your favorite?
Head opening and try biting the head off. That
Windows.
Yeah. That
Palmer's
was my favorite.
head biting Windows' head. There's a whole bunch of heads,
Yes.
a lot of heads happening in there. Jamie, what about yourself? Which was your favorite?
I think the defibrillator, because it had that jump scare factor that I quite liked, that I wasn't expecting.
When Norris's chest opened up and
and just how that whole thing was done, and his face changed and everything. It was awesome.
Yeah,
really great.
Okay. I personally would go with them actually killing the Palmer version of the Thing, because I love the head detaching and then sprouting like a spidery thing. I remember seeing that as a kid and thinking it was terrifying.
I know how. Do you know how they did that?
With great difficulty, I imagine.
I don't know, because sometimes you have like the DVD and you check out the extra.
I do have the Blu-ray, and I have watched the special features previously. I didn't watch them for this episode because I was busy. I wish I had watched them. Now that you bring it up, though,
I'm sure YouTube.
But yeah, it was incredible. And like we say, it was practical effects, so there was no easy way to do that. However they did it, it was hard. but it holds up. This movie is next year will be 40 years old, and it
Crazy.
holds up.
Crazy.
And honestly, the special effects in this film, outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And I can't think of a film today that looks better than it.
I think that's why they hold up, because early CGI, when you compare it to new CGI, just doesn't hold up. But if it's practical, as long as it's shot well, it's always gonna hold up.
If you take the time to do kick-ass practical effects, it stands the test of time.
Which they clearly did here.
They 100% did here. They put a lot of work into it. And it has paid off. And like I said, next year is 40 years old. And
they're not planning on doing a 2022 remake of this.
Not as far as I'm aware. So hopefully not. But
only a matter of time. Everybody's doing it.
Everybody is doing it. So okay. I was going to ask you about the performances in it. What did you think of the way the characters were portrayed? Ali.
They all blended well with each other. Obviously, being a Kurt Russell fan, I'm going to enjoy his performance even more. But I didn't know that he was more or less the main guy because, like I say, I've only seen this film in little segments. I didn't realize that this was he was the main guy for this film. But I absolutely loved his performance in this film. And I see now why I am a fan, is what he can bring to the table.
Jamie, what about yourself?
As I say, I don't watch a lot of old films. I don't know if these guys have been in more recent films, but, I think possibly my first time seeing most of these people, unless they've been in something and I haven't recognized them. I thought the cast gelled really well. I thought the acting was good. I could totally tell a lot of some of the camera work could be lazy. In some of the talking scenes, there was one scene where there was just 5 of them and it was a static view for a minute and a half and there was no cut. I was like, what are you doing? But, that's just the 80s for you.
It's also kind of John Carpenter's style. John Carpenter's a phenomenal director, huge in the horror genre. And for those interested, in a couple of weeks' time, we will be covering another John Carpenter film, one that actually launched one of the biggest franchises in all of horror, the original Halloween. But
is it called John Carpenter's Halloween? He likes doing that, doesn't he? Puts his name. I clicked on the director on Amazon Prime and it was John Carpenter's this. It's like, bro, you're getting a director's credit. Just, give it a title and
calm your pants. Yeah. But John Carpenter liked to cast really strong talent. So he often didn't like to do overly fancy cinematography or camera stuff. I mean, he does do amazing cinematography. Like some of the shots in Antarctica are gorgeous in this film. But in general, he likes to get strong talent and he likes to put the camera on the talent and let the talent shine, because he's a big believer that in order to make a film work, you need, strong performances, strong writing, and strong music. And he actually does most of the music for pretty much all his own films, including this. So he's a very hands-on director. But yeah, as a result, a lot of the camera work maybe will just be like, boom, there's the talent, and we're going to get the best performance out the talent we can.
Which they don't. Which in 2020 TV show, they don't do that anymore.
No, they don't do that anymore. They don't.
There were shots in this films that I'm like, I've seen this before, but it's not common anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it maybe does come across as a bit old-fashioned now, because I think a lot of the time now, especially if you look at, like, say, the Marvel films or stuff like that, more blockbuster type stuff, I think they're maybe worried that people won't just sit and pay attention to a longer shot of someone acting. I think they're like, we need to cut it here and do this.
There's got to be 12 cuts, or else they're going to. Oh wait, it's not TikTok. They can't swipe away.
So, but yeah, so we've got that. But I think the performances are amazing. Kurt Russell is outstanding, as you said, Ali. He is very, very good in this.
Totally.
Keith David, who played Childs, is very good in this. But I think the standout performance is Wilford Brimley, who played Blair. And again, he's cutting shit up with the axe after the computers told him stuff. He's not the main guy, but he puts everything into that performance. He can act, and I think he fucking brought it in this film.
He makes an impact.
He 100% does. I think he.
Which one was the guy with the beard that got to the end?
The guy with the beard that got to the end, was that David Moffat potentially played Gary?
I can't remember.
Oh no, you're talking Mac. You're talking the survivor, Kurt Russell.
That's Kurt Russell.
No, that's Kurt. Yeah. All right, I get what you're talking about then. He spec that because I was like, that guy's great.
Yeah. Kurt Russell.
Didn't know that was Kurt Russell, so I'm glad I agree with you.
Okay, let's discuss the end of the movie where McGreedy and Childs are sitting there, and they're like, "Have we got it?" And he asked Childs, "Where were you?" And so I want to ask you: was one of them a thing? Were they both a thing? What's your thoughts? Were any of them human? Were they both human? Ali, what do you think?
I think they left it on a cliffhanger to keep us guessing. So one of them was definitely a thing at the end of this film, which is it's kind of cool that it doesn't have a Link sequel though, because it leaves it as one of those films that's just like keeps you thinking.
Yeah, since they never made a sequel, I'm going to say they were both humans and they just died. Nice and boring. They killed the thing. They both just sat there and like, yep, we killed this bastard, and we can die with it, knowing that.
Okay, so
but the thing, with the thing,
yeah,
eventually does it just melt, merge back into one thing?
I have no idea.
Or can there be multiple? Can there be multiple things? Could both of them be the thing, or is there only ever one?
They 100% could both be the thing, and I believe at multiple points in the film there were more than one thing, because certainly the dog was a thing while one of the humans were also a thing, and then they burned the dog. So there can definitely be multiple things at once, because remember, they did say every part of the thing can survive independently and will attempt to protect itself.
Yeah, I just assumed they all sort of merged back together at one point.
Maybe they could. I don't know. It's what were you going to say, Ali?
That's what the end thing was, wasn't it? It was a mesh of all the characters, including
it was
the dog,
kind of
together, wasn't it?
Weird amalgamation, but it's from the different things we saw, like I say, it's very Lovecrafty and very kind of hard to explain. Literally, it's the shit nightmares are made of, 100%.
So if I got a nightmare tonight, it's your fault.
So, Jamie, before I ask you how many stabs you would give this film, do you think it was scary?
No, I don't think so. No. I don't think we've watched a load of horror films now, and the only thing I found scary so far was the first Scream.
Okay.
because it was the first one we watched, but I think I've been acclimatized and desensitized.
That's fair. I mean, to be fair,
I got one or two sort of like more than
I've
scared.
Not found a horror film scary since watching the original It miniseries when I was a child.
I was a bit
And-
scared when Christian Bale was running with that chainsaw because it was just so fucking loud. I was like, ah, God, Jesus.
Okay. Okay. How many stabs do you give the thing then, Jamie?
Oh, it's a strong 4 stabs.
Ali,
That was
how
a-
many stabs do you give the thing?
I'm gonna give it a strong 4 stabs as well. It's a good time, enjoyable. Could certainly watch it again, but not in a hurry.
So you would say it was scary.
Oh yeah, holy fucking dog it was.
Okay, fair enough. But you watched it with your wife.
Yeah. She complimented and said that you and Kurt Russell look very similar in this. So that's a huge compliment from my wife to you.
I'll take it. But
Oh,
did,
shame, Kurt was a handsome man.
did she find it scary?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she had to leave the room for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so finally we go to me, and I think, like I said, this film is fucking phenomenal. I think it is very well written. I think the characters are actually quite realistic. I think it is so well acted. I think the special effects are ridiculously good. I think literally this monster that they've made is, like I say, literally the thing of nightmares, fucking Lovecrafty and the cosmic horror that I just love. I think they build suspense and paranoia phenomenally throughout the whole film, and a whole bunch of other shit that realistically we just did not have time to talk about today. 5 stabs. I genuinely think this is a 5-stab movie.
Round of applause for the 5 stabs.
Yes. Well done, John Carpenter. You've done a good job. So next week, we will be discussing The Thing from 2011, the prequel to this film, which is not 5 stabs. Straight up, I'm just telling you now, it's not 5 stabs. But join us for that. Anyway, if you want more content from Jamie or Ali, you can find a link to their channels in the description of this video, along with a description of what their channels offer. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you think of The Thing in the comments. Click the thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit that notification bell like a motherfucker. And we will see you next time. As always, we will be back for one last scare.